Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to help you answer the question, should I buy or should I rent? Now, if this is your first time to the channel, my name is Hasan Juma. I'm a real estate agent in the Vancouver area, and I make these educational videos that'll help you in your buying or selling journey. Without wasting any time, let's get started. So I have to preface this video because, as I mentioned off the top, I am a real estate agent, and you're probably wondering, how's this guy going to stand in front of me and say that I should rent property versus actually purchase property? I'm going to do just that. I feel like purchasing property is not the right answer for everyone. So I'm going to give you a few reasons why you should rent real estate, and I'm going to give you a few reasons why you should now purchase real estate. One caveat is I'm going to assume that you have saved up enough money for a down payment, because if you haven't saved up enough money for a down payment, this video doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm going to start this video off by talking about some of the reasons why you might purchase real estate at this point and not continue to rent. And the first thing that I would look at if I'm looking at criteria or I'm trying to make a decision is, how secure am I in my employment? So not only do the lenders, the banks want to see security in your employment, but more so for your sanity, how comfortable do you feel about your current career, your job? Do you expect that you're going to be in this job for, a long period of time? Perhaps you just got a promotion or a raise. You've been at this job or this company for a long time. The career prospects look really good. If this was my circumstance and I felt this way about my career, I would definitely be looking at purchasing real estate versus continuing to rent. Now, oftentimes when we look at careers and the workforce, we are tied into certain locations in a lot of positions, not all of them, but that also helps as well in the decision-making process when it comes to buying real estate. If you have an office that you head to all the time, it helps you really narrow down where you should be purchasing real estate, and you don't necessarily need flexibility of location. So again, first thing that I'm looking at 100% of the time is, how does my employment look, and do I expect to make more money over the foreseeable future? Do I expect to make more commission or get raises? And the reason I say that is, home ownership, when you first get into your property, yes, there are the down payment and the closing costs and all the little things that come with the upfront purchase. But once you are a homeowner, there are a lot of different costs that come along the way. And if you're in a scenario where you foresee your income growing, you're going to be in a great position to be able to manage those costs and still have a comfortable quality of life. So the second thing that I would look at if I was considering buying or renting real estate is, how much cash do I have saved up outside of my down payment? Now, in a perfect world, and I've said this myself personally, you have 6 months worth of savings of your expenses just sitting in cash. I understand that this is a luxury that not many people have, let's be honest. I feel like you should buy real estate if you have at least a few months worth of your expenses saved up in cash. Like I just mentioned, you don't want to purchase real estate and not be prepared for some of those maintenance or those ongoing costs that come about when you own a property. If you do have some additional money beyond your down payment that you have sitting there in cash that you could use as a rainy day fund, or if something were to come up in terms of a home repair or something along those lines, a special levy in a strata property, for example, then I would consider purchasing real estate. So the third reason that I would buy real estate versus renting, and this is a very personal reason to everyone as an individual, is how much you value stability. If you're someone who really, really values stability, wants to have, a specific roof over your head that you can always come back to, that you won't get displaced from, barring something unforeseen. If you value stability highly, real estate is not only the place that you call home, obviously, but it's one of the most stable assets out there. I can do a separate video on how it provides investment stability, but this is more so in terms of your frame of mind. So again, if you're someone that values stability, buy the real estate. If you're someone who would rather have some flexibility, then you don't necessarily need to buy the real estate. So off the top, I talked about the reasons that you should buy real estate. Now I'm going to tell you why you should continue renting real estate or start to rent. Perhaps you're living at home with the family and you're deciding whether you should buy or move out. Either way, you're going to move out. Here are some reasons why you should continue to rent. Number one, I talked about the whole employment aspect. If you are not feeling, secure in your employment, if you just started a new job, you're not so sure about your career prospects, or like a lot of us, you wake up and you say, look, I don't want to keep doing what I'm doing. I want to I want to, pursue a passion. I want to pursue something different that's going to be a bit of a financial risk, but it's going to bring me some happiness. In that case, I would actually rent property, and the down payment that you have saved, I would keep that again as a cash fund, and that'll help you fund, a new career. Perhaps you want to go and travel. So this is another reason why you may choose to rent real estate versus purchase, is you want flexibility in terms of where you're going to stay. You may want to spend, 6 months or a year in one place, and then you want to move to a different location. One thing about real estate is it's not a liquid asset, right? When you purchase real estate, you're putting your down payment obviously into that property, and those down payment funds, they're not very easily accessible, right? They're in your property. Of course, you can get the home ready to sell it. Completion may be a few months out. For you to actually pull your cash out of that property, outside of using it in an equity scenario, but to actually pull the cash out of it, it takes a lot longer than actually obviously having like a cash fund or investing in the stock market, for example, where you can turn it into cash on the same day. So again, if you're not so sure about your employment, you started a new gig, or you just want some flexibility, you want to be able to travel, you don't know exactly where you want to live, then I wouldn't buy real estate. I would look to rent. So I did also mention when I was talking about buying real estate is you want to be in a scenario where outside of your down payment, you've saved up at least a few months worth of savings in cash. So this is kind of a simpler one. If you have your down payment, but that down payment basically wipes you out in terms of the cash that you have, I would look to rent. Now, if you are living at home with the folks, you may want to spend a few more months or another year to save up some cash reserve. The reason I say this is the last thing you want to do is purchase a piece of real estate, get into the property, and something happens, a roof expense or something large that is unforeseen, and you're not prepared to deal with it. That's a lot of stress. I've been in that situation myself. I've purchased my first property in my 20s, and I scraped every penny that I possibly had for the down payment. I was lucky that when repairs did come up on my building, I was a little bit more prepared for it because it wasn't immediate, but sometimes these things can happen at any time. So if you don't have at least a few months worth of expenses saved up, either rent or spend a little bit more time saving up a little bit more cash before purchasing property. And the last reason, in my opinion, that you should rent versus purchasing property is if you don't want to make the compromises that you have to make when you're purchasing real estate. And I'm not making any judgment here, but when you purchase real estate, you're often compromising in location or size of property or age of property. If that's not something you want to do, I totally get it. And that would put you in a situation where you should continue to rent. Oftentimes when you're renting versus purchasing, you can also choose to rent in maybe a more convenient or better location for yourself. I look back again to when I purchased real estate in my 20s. I basically had the option of purchasing real estate in Richmond, BC, which, hey, it's a nice city. Or the other option that I was weighing was actually renting in downtown Vancouver, in the heart of the action, heart of it all. Again, in my 20s, that would have been a lot of fun, but I chose to make the sacrifice into home ownership, and I don't regret it whatsoever, but I can completely understand the mindset if you don't want to make some of these compromises and you just want to live where you want to live. Those are all reasons why you should rent. Now, if you're to ask me overall, should I buy or should I rent? I always suggest you should buy real estate. It's the best thing that I've ever done for myself financially, was getting into real estate, purchasing real estate. So I always encourage people in the right scenario to do it. But that's not to say there aren't scenarios, again, where you should rent. So I hope I've helped you answer the question today, whether you should buy real estate or whether you should rent. If you found any value in this video, I'd love it if you could like and maybe hit the subscribe button for more real estate content in the future. If you wanted to work with me, again, I'm a real estate agent in the Vancouver area. If you needed my help to buy or sell, I would love to work with you. All of my contact info is in the description box below. But other than that, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.